It wasn't a conspiracy theory after all. I mean, we already knew that, but it's good to hear it from the horse's mouth. The horse in this case being Kurt Weldon, a former member of the U.S. House of Representatives who represented the 7th District of Pennsylvania between 1987 and 2007. In a Tucker Carlson interview that aired on Monday, he said this.
It's like Libya. We were the ones that caused Gaddafi's death because Hillary Clinton played a game over it. I hand-carried the letter back from Gaddafi offering to resign. The U.S. didn't want him to resign. They wanted to kill him.
Why?
Because Gaddafi, at every meeting I had with Gaddafi, he wanted two things. He wanted to unite the African continent into a group of nations economically, like the European economy. He wanted to base it on the gold standard. And the U.S. and Europe didn't want that. The other thing is they wanted control of his oil, and they wanted control of his sovereign wealth. So Gaddafi had to go. That's outrageous and it's wrong.
So the reason NATO bombed Libya 7,000 times in just 8 months, destroying the country's strategic infrastructure and reducing it to the Stone Age, was that Europe and the US did not want an economically unified Africa in control of its own natural resources and sovereign wealth. So why does the idea of a united Africa scare the NATO alliance so much? Short answer, money. The answer is always money. Or to be more specific, the empire's monetary and economic system, which dictates that for those in the imperial core of Western Europe and North America to consume excessively using their overvalued fiat currencies, those at the imperial periphery of Asia, Latin America, and Africa must extract and produce at the lowest possible cost. Asia is designated as the cheap production zone in that imperial economic system, and Africa is designated as the cheap extraction zone for raw materials. And then along comes Gaddafi with his big ideas about African economic and political unity, with the money to actually back up those ideas. This guy was dangerous. You see, the empire knows better than any of us that if Africa was to streamline itself into a single economic entity with 1.5 billion people, and the world's youngest and fastest growing population with the ability to move people, goods, and services seamlessly across 30 million square kilometers on the world's most resource-laden continent, Africa would experience a rapid economic breakout of the sort that would overshadow even that of China. The empire knows all of this, of course, because African poverty itself is an artificial imperial project intended to keep raw materials cheap. Poverty is a feature, not a bug. You see, the economies of the imperial core are welded to this idea that wealth and power should lie not with those who have the capacity to work and produce value, but with those who have an inflated capacity to consume, a consumption capacity that is built entirely on artificially overvalued fiat currencies like the dollar, pound sterling, and the euro.
We're the big market. The advantage we have over everybody is that we're the big market.
Basically, they don't want to work, but they want to consume most of the fruits of everyone else's work in the world at an ever-accelerating rate. And for this false system to continue to exist, Africa's artificial poverty must be maintained carefully and ruthlessly, using nonsensical borders, obstruction of trade, infrastructure financing, and political stability, and maintaining Africa's 41 useless, non-convertible, dollar-dependent pseudo-currencies that constantly depreciate and make Africans poor. Gaddafi's dangerous ideas were meant to upend all of this.
Well, can't be having any of that now, can we?
So the empire did this to him. And did this to Libya. Apparently, this was meant to teach Africans to know our place and to never promote such dangerous ideas ever again. Except, it clearly didn't work.